The gods of the celestial court were bored. It happened every few centuries, when the mortal wars grew predictable, when the prophecies ran dry, when even the great dragon empires below moved too slowly to be entertaining. And so, as gods do when they are bored, they played games. The game this time was simple: drop the youngest daughter of the dragon's sovereign, Princess Valeth, third flame of the draconic bloodline, future terror of the eastern skies, into the most unremarkable corner of the human world they could find. A library. In a city called Chicago. Next to a human boy named Ethan Cross. The gods laughed. It would be humiliating, they said. The mighty dragon princess, crammed into a frail human body, seated beside a pale, glasses-wearing creature who appeared to be arguing with a mathematics textbook. They gave her 1 week. Find her own way back. No magic. No flames. No wings. Just survive being human. Princess Valeth arrived in a flash of displaced air that smelled of sulfur and starlight, wearing the form of a girl with silver white hair and eyes the color of molten copper. She blinked. She was sitting in a chair. There was carpet beneath her feet. Around her, soft amber lamplight fell over rows and rows of shelved books, and the air was cool and dry and smelled of old paper. She had been in human libraries before, she had burned a few, during the northern campaigns, but she had never sat in one. "You okay?" said a voice. She turned. The human was looking at her over the rim of his glasses. He was perhaps 17, with dark circles under his eyes and a mechanical pencil tucked behind one ear. His textbook, Advanced Thermodynamics, 4th edition, was open to a page dense with equations, many of which were circled aggressively in red ink. "I have just been deposited here against my will by divine forces," Valeth said, because she saw no reason to lie to something so small. The human, Ethan Cross, stared at her for a moment. Then he nodded slowly. "Okay. You want some of my coffee? You look like you're having a rough one." Valeth looked at the paper cup he offered. It smelled like burned beans and something bitter. "I don't require sustenance," she said. "Cool. Neither do I, technically, but here we are." He took a sip, turned back to his textbook, and began writing again. She watched him. That was it. No shock. No prostrating himself before her. No screaming. Just coffee. She found it deeply disorienting. Valeth decided to observe the human in the way her people observed prey. Quietly. Methodically. Learning the patterns before striking. What she observed was this: Ethan Cross did not sleep. Or if he did, it was not in any location she could identify. He was at the library when she arrived each morning and still there past midnight. He survived on vending machine sandwiches and that vile burned bean water. He spoke very little, but when he did speak, it was with a precision that reminded her, uncomfortably, of her eldest brother, the one who had conquered 3 mountain kingdoms before his 200th birthday. He was working on something. Pages of it. Equations and diagrams and dense, scratched-out notes that filled notebook after notebook. On the 3rd day, curiosity overcame her pride. "What is that?" she asked, gesturing at his work. He looked up. By now he had accepted her continued presence the way one accepts a cat choosing to sit nearby, not with joy exactly, but without resistance. "Thermal containment model," he said. "Specifically, a theoretical framework for sustaining a plasma field at temperatures above 50 million Kelvin without magnetic degradation." Valeth was quiet for a moment. 50 million Kelvin, she repeated. "Yeah." He flipped a page. "It's the threshold you'd need to sustain fusion ignition without the containment collapsing. Current models keep failing at the boundary layer. I think the math is wrong, not the physics, just how everyone's been modeling the energy distribution at the edge of the field." She stared at him. 50 million Kelvin was approximately the temperature at the core of her father's breath, the sovereign flame, the fire that had reduced the steel citadel of Morath to a glass crater in 11 seconds. It was the temperature that dragon scholars spent centuries learning to survive, let alone approach. And this human, this soft, sleepless, coffee-drinking human child, was trying to build a containment model for it. "You're trying to create dragon fire," she said flatly. Ethan looked at her. "I'm trying to create sustainable nuclear fusion." "Same thing." He opened his mouth. Closed it. "I mean, chemically, not entirely inaccurate as an analogy, but show me your boundary layer equations." He showed her. She did not tell him she was a dragon. She told him she had a background in high-temperature plasma behavior, which was true in the way that saying the ocean has a background in being wet is true. What she found in his equations was extraordinary. He was right that the model was wrong. But more than that, he had, through pure human reasoning and mathematics, arrived at a set of principles that the dragon scholars of the inner flame had taken 400 years of draconic magic and biological evolution to discover. The same distribution patterns. The same recognition that the boundary layer had to breathe, had to pulse, rather than hold rigid. He had gotten there with a pencil and a library card. Valeth had believed, as all dragons believed, that humans were clever in the way that crows were clever. Adaptive. Resourceful. But not deep. Not like her kind, who had millennia to refine their understanding of the universe's fundamental fires. She began revising that belief somewhere around midnight on the fourth day, when Ethan stared at a page for 40 silent minutes, then quietly said, "The field doesn't need to be a sphere." "What?" she said. "We keep modeling it as a sphere because that's the most efficient shape mathematically. But the plasma doesn't want to be a sphere, it wants to be a torus. If you model the containment as a dynamic torus with variable inner pressure." He was already writing, fast and precise. "The boundary layer stress drops by an order of magnitude." Valeth looked at what he was writing. Then she looked at him. "Your father," she said carefully. "What does he do?" "He's an electrician." "And his father?" "Coal miner." Ethan didn't look up. "Why?" She didn't answer, because she was doing something she had not done since her first century of life. She was humbled. In the draconic tradition, the elders spoke of a concept, vrethkai, the fire that burns from the inside, the flame of pure will and intelligence. It was considered a dragon's most sacred inheritance, the thing that separated them from beasts. She was looking at a 17-year-old human with dark circles and a bad diet, and she was watching vrethkai happen in real time. Not inherited. Not ancient. Not given by gods or bloodlines. Self-made. From nothing. On the 7th day, the gods came to collect her. They arrived as a shimmer in the library air, amused and condescending, expecting to find her humiliated and desperate. They found her at a table covered in notebooks, working alongside Ethan Cross, who was eating his third vending machine sandwich of the evening and had not noticed the shimmer at all because he was in the middle of a sentence. "Time's up," the shimmer said to Valeth. Hope the little exercise in humility was instructive. She looked up slowly. "I will return," she said. "Give me a year." Silence in the shimmer. "The game is over, princess." It was a joke. "I know." She looked at Ethan, who had now noticed the shimmer and was staring at it with the expression of a person filing unexpected information away for later. "I want a year. Not because you dropped me here. Because I found something." The shimmer flickered with confused divine energy. "You found something. In a library. Next to a human." "Yes." She said it simply, without grandeur, the way one states a fact of the physical world. "In 100 years, this one will have built the heart of a star in a bottle. In 200, his students will have built 3 more. In 1,000 years, they will have brought fire to the dark between the worlds." She paused. He didn't ask a god for any of it. He didn't steal it from a dragon. He derived it from first principles with a pencil, for notebooks, and that terrible drink. She closed her notebook. I want to be here when they finish it. I want to watch it happen. The shimmer was very quiet. Ethan looked at her. Are you a dragon? He said. Yes. He considered this. Okay. Do you want to look at the torus pressure model? I think there's still a flaw in section 4. She sat back down. Yes, said Princess Valeth, third flame of the draconic bloodline, future terror of the eastern skies. Show me. The gods left. They did not understand what they had witnessed. They never did.